Are you like me, one of the millions of baby boomers who's currently aging solo, doesn't have any children, and doesn't have next of kin? Have you stopped to wonder what's going to happen to your pension when you pass on? In today's show, I'll be shedding light on the three pension scenarios and what you can do to protect your money beyond your death. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Bybreen Samuels, and you're here at the Smart Years, a place where baby boomers can reinvent, thrive, and live well into their third act of life. So, the fastest growing demographic of people who are aging alone are people over 65. And there's a huge swathe of us, a cohort that are aging solo currently, don't have children, and don't have next of kin. So, what happens to our pensions? Here in the UK, we currently still have a state pension. Obviously, you're going to check with your own jurisdiction, but we currently have a state pension where that could really be up for discussion by the end of October, early November, after the autumn statement, because there's lots of contention around that. However, the state pension is considered a benefit and not a right. And so, as a solo person who's aging and possibly dies alone and doesn't have next of kin or children, the state pension automatically stops. There isn't any type of succession payment because we don't have next of kin or children. So it automatically stops. The second situation is if you have a defined contribution pension, and this is either the workplace pension or private pension, then we need to be looking to our pension providers. Now, to protect your pension, what you should do is nominate your beneficiaries, and there'll be a process that your pension provider will be able to take you through. Now, you can either nominate a person, one person, a friend. It could be a group of friends. It could be a charity or a group of charities or a combination of that collection. And the idea is that you nominate how you would like your pension to be distributed when you pass. Now, depending on how much they may get, will depend on whether you died before 75 or after 75. If you died before 75, then they will get something known as a death grant, which is like a one-off payment. Think of it in terms of like an insurance policy that's paid out to your beneficiaries. If you die after 75, then your beneficiaries will receive an income and they will be taxed on the basis of that income in alignment with their personal income tax payment and their allowance. So, by having a nomination, it will make it really clear to your pension provider how you would like your pension to be taken over. And they will either pay it into your estate in accordance with your wishes, as well as your will. So that takes care of the defined contribution pension. The third situation is the defined benefit pension. And in this situation, this is where you have the final salary pension. Now, if you are dying alone, dying solo in the situation that I've already identified, then what happens is that the pension just stops and the pension provider holds on to the money. And so they can use the money in any way they so choose. The same applies with the defined contribution pension, because the pension provider equally has a discretion to use the money because you haven't nominated either a charity or individuals, and then they can use that money, invest that money any way they choose to. Now, let's say that you're somebody who lives a very ethical, moral, value-driven life, and your values could be really out of sync with the pension provider, and they might invest the money that you've saved over all of these years into companies or assets that you wouldn't agree with. Now, if that's something that you know that's going to bother you, nominate, make it really clear what you would like to happen to your pension. Now, if you choose to allocate to charities in the form of like a legacy payment, here in the UK, we have an organisation called Will Aid, and that's willaid.org.uk. And it's a group of solicitors, and they work alongside a consortium of charities. And the solicitors offer will writing services, which you can buy, but actually you can just make a contribution. I think it's about £100 that they're asking for. So you make a contribution, they start, the will preparation. And because they are collaborating with a consortium of charities, it's a way to bridge the gap. It's a way they sort of broker the relationship, so to speak. So you're somebody who wants to donate money to a charity. They're in contact with charities, and so they bring the two together. And you and the charities can start building a relationship, which whereby, if you so choose to, you can make a legacy payment. Now, let's say, for example, that you die intestate. That means that you die, there's no next of kin, there are no children, and there's no will. Then the state literally takes over your assets. There's a phrase called bona vacantia, which means in the name of the crown, King Charles here, and the state, they take over your assets. So, yeah, if you don't want that to happen and you want to still be in a decision making position as you continue to age, then think critically, think seriously about how you want your assets to be allocated on your passing. So it's something that I'm actively exploring. I've dotted some I's and I've crossed a couple of T's, but there's more to explore. I'd love to hear how you're getting on in terms of, what preparatory steps have you taken? Are you taking with regards to protecting your assets or having them allocated in a way that's really going to abide with your wishes? I'd love to hear. Put your comments in the comment box below so we can get into a dialogue around all of this. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and let other baby boomers who are keen to find out how they can reinvent, thrive, and live well in their third act of life. I will see you again on the next show. Bye bye.